What's up, everyone, and welcome to Soldier's Patch Breakdown. As a reminder, this is not a real patch. I hope I didn't get anyone's hopes up for this, but this is just a hypothetical, imaginary patch that I feel like maybe needs to be stated at this point. I feel like some things are getting a little bit stale in the current AOE3 scenery or the meta. And I think these are some of the biggest things that we need to target. As you see here, this looks like a real patch page here, but I did some code editing to get it customized just a little bit here. So we'll run through this whole thing. It's not a big one. I wanted to focus on some of the major things, and it'd be nice if we did get another patch. And I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I think it's important to try to put the information out there if the opportunity ever were to come up, that maybe they could already see kind of what we want and what we're asking for, because there might not be any eyes on the game right now. So just to have some information already prepared, I think would be a big and helpful step. So, there's always hope. But I didn't add anything for each civ. I would like if there was another patch for each civ to get some little change, just in case somebody's like a one civ main, that you have something for yourself to look forward to. But I do have some pretty big changes in here, even though they're not you know what, let's get right into it. So I put together a little introduction here as well. So welcome, Soldados, to Imaginary Update for Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition. This is a pretend data update with bug fixes and balance changes. So it's important that I made this as a data patch, like the most recent real patch, because that I think would be the quickest and easiest for the developers to do. So nothing like too in-depth in the game. So that also is another, caveat for this, is that these are pretty simple to make changes, where it's basically just changing numbers, as far as I know. I mean, I'm not a developer or anything, but I'm trying to keep it simple and just change some pretty important bugs as well. So these are simple changes that would require the least amount of work for developers. Maybe one day they can use these suggestions to make a real game update. We can hope, at least. All right, so, and this is just a note from their last patch. It would be a data patch, so very easy to update and install, and no graphics, no maps in this type of patch. All right, so starting off with bug fixes, I just put general. Not too many bug fixes that I put in here. I know there are more, but I think these are kind of ones that really stand out and hopefully should be an easy fix. So this Hitam Balan, man, I'm gonna butcher every every name in this patch, but I'm gonna try my best. Belanda Hitam, this Dutch card that apparently doesn't allow you to even train a Khan, even though that's the entire point of the card, is an H4 card. And the architects for the Italians can no longer block opponent building placement with unbuilt foundations. So this is sometimes shown up on some YouTube channels or in quick search, where somebody playing as the Italians will, especially against the Swedes, just drop a bunch of mill foundations all over the map, and the Swedes can't build anything. So that's pretty game breaking. So hopefully that would be able to be sorted out. And then an Aztec Age 4 card that boosts Jaguar Prowl Knight stats. It's supposed to send 12 now that they moved it into Age 4 instead of Age 3, but it still only sends 6. So that would be a nice one to change as well. And we're going to get right into game balance, civilization balance in general. So this is probably the biggest one that I'm throwing out there, and it's been discussed in the past amongst people that have some contributions to the balance side of it, but nothing ever happened. So trade post, wood cost increased to 250 wood from 200, of course. And then with that, native TPs can still automatically be built if you have the line of sight and you claim them, for still half the cost split into food and wood. So I think I don't know if at the time when this was being discussed, I wasn't sure if I liked the idea, but I think right now would be a good time, or whenever we can get a patch, would be a good time to just kind of switch things up, because I think right now things are, for me, I've been back for over a little bit over a year now, and it's not boring, but things get a little bit stale when you know that French every time on a Cal map they're gonna 12-10, or maybe even every map, or just kind of things that you expect and already know is going to happen. So I think that would shake things up quite a bit, probably even balance, honestly. But 50 wood at the end of the day, if you really want to trade posts, it's not the end of the world. It would definitely change up. Ottoman could still get, because they start with 400 wood, they can still get a TP and the mosque, but it would open up, I think, some different gameplay options. And then also, I added in here Spy and Mubir, if that's how I don't even know if I spelled that right, but I wanted to increase their damage, their base damage, because they really are terrible against everything unless they're specifically targeting a mercenary or an explorer. And I understand that's their purpose, but once that's not an option anymore, they don't really have too much utility. Obviously, they do give you the line of sight and stealth ability, but I think it'd be kind of cool if you have a big fight and they're accidentally not attacking mercenaries, they at least do some damage. And also change the multiplier so that they still, at the end of the day, do the same amount of damage versus mercenaries. And I think that they do slightly too much to heroes, because they like 2 or 3, and it's a very common thing with Ottoman. They'll use their mosque to create a spy and go kill the enemy explorer, and there's literally nothing you can do. Even if you're full HP, go down on 2 or 3 hits. So I reduced that so they don't do 200 per hit. They'll just do 50. So they'll still kill the explorer very, very quickly, but even with just a single one. But just tuned that down a little bit, and then increase their HP, because they do die very quickly, and in a lot of instances, I think they don't really even counter mercenaries, even if they're fighting them directly. I don't think they counter them too efficiently and effectively. So I think those are just some, because, and this is not just about the top level, high level players. This is about the lower level players too. So I think that's something that I hear quite a bit when people just don't like facing mercenaries. So maybe that would help. And then another thing here, or another few things here for all civs, is the Bandito and the Cuartero. The cavalry mercenary unit. These are obviously very commonly seen with Mexico and the Baja Revolt. So nerfing the Bandito by reducing its attack range by 2. 18 is very long, and it's basically a skirmisher, and that you can get it at like 5 or 6 minutes, and they are very, very painful to deal with. So reducing their range, and then also reducing the area of effect of their unique ability to dynamite demolition. I didn't want to remove unique abilities like that entirely, so I think bringing it down a little bit. At least this is a start. Baja is pretty painful right now to face. It's pretty deflating going up against it, and it's so hard to win fights. So I think this is at least a good step in the right direction, bringing these guys down a little bit, and the cavalry as well, reducing their area of effect for their big game hunting special ability. All right, so on to Aztecs, the first civilization-focused changes. So their starting crates, I think, especially at the lower level, they are very strong and very difficult to deal with for newer players or lower level players. So I think the idea for me on them is to just slow them down a little bit. So I thought to change their starting crates from 400 food, 300 wood, split one of those wood crates and make it coin. It doesn't do too much, right? Like, you can still make your house and your community plaza, no problem. But if they're going for that, obviously the Jaguar Prowl start is very common, and then they follow it up sometimes with a war hut, maybe either forward or at home. So if you remove 100 wood, it at least slows that down a little bit and gives you a little bit of a window to counterattack. But still, 100 coin is still useful. You can potentially drop a market and a community plaza chop, or get some coin and then sell and get some wood, get hunting dogs still. So it's still possible, but I think that does slow them down a little bit. And then I did want to nerf that Aztec scouting party, which is very common to see as soon as they hit age 2. It for some reason over the years, it used to be, I think, 450 food for 3 of them. They brought it down when they changed the cost of Jaguar Prowl Knights so they brought this down to 400 food, and it sends 4 currently. I think it would be better, more balanced, and less annoying if it was 500 food and only gave 3. Now, it would still obviously have a very strong impact early in the game, because when you're talking about 100 food, it's not more than like 15 or 20 seconds. And reducing the unit count by 1, they still are going to be very annoying and potentially siege buildings, foundations, before the opponent even ages up to age 2. So I think it is a decent nerf to that, but it still, I think, would be quite useful, and I think most Aztec players would still go for that. And then I just adjusted the next 2, the Aztec Raiding Party and Aztec War Party, to I actually increased the number of units they get from them, because I also increased the cost. So I think that makes them a little bit more impactful too, where you get a couple more units, but you do have to pay that extra cost. So just kind of rebalancing that to make sense. All right, so on to British. I think they're obviously one of the stronger civs in the game. I think most people would agree with that. They're very, very good at all levels. So I don't really have a huge change for them. It's kind of tough to balance them, and I think it's just, the higher the skill level, the better they are. So the only thing I did want to touch on them a little bit, just a little bit, is the Greenwich Time card, the trade post from age 1 that allows you to age up and research all techs 20% faster per trade post that you have. I know it doesn't stack directly, but reducing that by just 5%, I think it's kind of a crazy. It's an interesting concept, and I don't necessarily understand where it came from or agree with it. But reducing your age up time on top of all tech times is it's strong, and it just, I think, allows for some really cheesy gameplay. I'm not trying to target Lionheart here at all. I mean, he shows that the strategies, his FI, is very fun and very powerful, and I just think maybe it's a little bit too strong. So I hope people don't hate me for that. All right, on to Ethiopia. As you guys probably know, Ethiopia with me, we have an interesting relationship. So I could be totally wrong on this, and I'm sure some people are going to say, "Wow, dude, you have no idea what you're talking about. This would make them so OP." But I wanted to adjust them based on the games I've played with them a little bit, and just give them some pretty significant tweaks, I think. So I'm adding the 5 villager card to their home city. They already have the 4 villager card. A lot of civilizations have 5 as well, so I'm going to actually allow them to have both 5 and 4, so that can help their early game. But I mean, think about it now. It's not that it sounds big, but if you're going to send 4 villagers now, you're probably not going to send 5 and 4. Maybe you can try to, but that's pretty greedy. But if you do send the 5 villager, it's just 1 extra villager, so it's a nice buff, but not insane. And another new card for H3 is Gasconia Combat. So I think this is very helpful to them, because what they currently have is they don't have any Gasconia boost in H3, but in H2 they have damage and hit points, which it's kind of difficult to send that, I think. And if you want to focus on that unit, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of sad to me to have to add both of those cards and then to find a time to send them. It's kind of difficult, I think. So if you like Gasconia, you want to focus on them, I think you should be able to send a combat card in H3 that boosts their damage and hit points by 15%. So combining the 2 cards and then removing the individual cards, because you don't want to have those still there and really make Gasconia quite strong at that point. I think that they would be a little bit OP if we did that. So removing the H2 cards in tandem with that. And then the Oromo Warrior, reducing the cost, because I think the cost, I mean, they're okay. They have a few decent cards to boost them as well in H3. But the 120 food, 120 coin is a high price to pay. They do have a stronger attack speed. Their damage is, I think, only 35. So they're not that great. They're kind of like a veteran Hussar, maybe even worse, honestly. And they cost currently a lot more. So I think reducing that cost a little bit. And their train time is insane as well. 55 seconds, which is like the speed, the training speed of a cur. And reducing that to 40 seconds would be closer to a Hussar. So I think that makes sense because they're cool units and you just don't really ever see them because it takes quite a bit for them to get out on the field. And usually you want to do like a timing of Age 3 cavalry. So you would want to send like, I think they have a 5 or 4 unit shipment in Age 3 and then time it with a batch. But with their strength and their cost and their train time, I think it makes kind of difficult to be able to do that. Or even difficult to, it's not very desirable to do that. Okay, on to the next civ. That's Haudenosaunee. Just one simple change here because I did think that they are a little bit underplayed, and I think they are a fun civilization. We just haven't seen much of them at all. And I was looking at some civ stats and who's being played, and I think they were pretty close to the bottom on that when you consider all players. So I think the Kanye Horsemen, they've always been pretty expensive to train. So I think just reducing their wood cost, the wood side of it, from 75 down to 65 would help them out quite a bit. Then leave their cost at 100 food and 65 wood. Okay, so on to Lakota. Another kind of small change, not super impactful, and I understand they are obviously a cavalry-focused civilization. But I think I don't know if it makes that much sense for Wakina rifles to only have 18 range. That change was done quite many years ago. They used to be one of my favorite units. They actually used to cost, I believe it was 60 food and 20 coin. Maybe, I want to say 20. They were really, really cheap. And I used to, at some points, make only Wakina, get like 70 Wakina out. So they were strong at one point for a low cost, but now that they cost a bit more, I think they are 35 coin or 40. I can't remember exactly, but definitely more costly. I don't think that 18 range really makes sense. And in skirmish battles, it just is really disappointing if you can't really go all in. You can't even poke either. So just I think a little quality of life boost for them. Even though they are a strong civ, I do think they are pretty strong. So onto the Maltese. So I think playing some Maltese games, I enjoyed playing them, and at points Sentinels were nice units to have, especially obviously defensively. But later in the game, when you can get pretty much all your upgrade cards in, because there are a lot of archaic card upgrades for the Maltese for their crossbow, and you could get the range upgrade, the siege range upgrade. There's so many good cards for crossbow for pikemen. They seem like they should be more of like, if you have the resources, they should be a staple in your army, but they just cost too much population. So I think reducing that cost, and when you look at the stats, it doesn't really make sense when you compare it to like Janissaries or Sepoy, which I think they should be kind of compared to, where they should be a little bit more tanky. Their stats just aren't that good. So reducing, it's a big change to cut their pop costs in half, but I think it should be done. And with that, I don't know why they had 13 range. It seems very strange to me to give them one extra range, especially if they're defensive. I don't know, but I think just putting them more on a closely to a Sepoy or a Janissary type unit makes a little bit more sense. They still do have their unique features where they can build outposts, they boost stats around defensive buildings. So, but I think that would help some Maltese players, and I think they would appreciate that. All right, the Mexicans, these guys, they had Baja banned from the ESOC tournament. So and I don't play much with the Mexicans, so I can't say exactly how strong they are, other than obviously Baja. But I think both the Mexicans and the United States get a ridiculous amount of XP, and the cards come flying in. So I think a good nerf to both of those two civs is to reduce their age up book crates, the XP crates they get, by 50%, which is a large amount, but I think these civs are actually underplayed, and I think they're much stronger than what the community and the meta say. So I think that is warranted. And then some more details on the Baja California Revolt, the Filibusters Revolt. The Coach Guns card, I would like that to deliver 2 Bandito and 2 Cavalry down from 3 each, while still keeping that aspect where the TPs have that unique shotgun attack, I believe it's called. I think thematically it kind of makes some sense. Coach guns, and it's on the TPs on the line. So I know some people don't like that, but it doesn't attack all that often. I think it's something like an 8-second rate of fire. And if that should be like the focus of the card, not the 6 valuable units that you get. So still giving the 4 units and still keeping that attack. Soldier of Fortune, I don't understand why this card arrives quickly, so I'm removing that aspect of it. It's very, very good card, and still will be when it gives you that coin per kill along with XP. And I guess, it gives them an extra advantage to time it right before you're going in for a fight. But there's so many things with the Baja Revolt that hit a little bit too hard. I think that's a nice little nerf that you can give them, while it still has value as a card. And then the Robber Barons, that is the factory card that you can send as soon as you revolt at 5 minutes 30 seconds. I don't think if you revolt and lose all your villagers, I don't think you should be able to have still a very strong economy, maybe even better than your opponents at that point in time. So when the factory comes in currently, it's like what you put it on wood or coin, it's like almost 8 vills right off the bat. So, and you just got a bunch of valuable, strong military units usually they only have 11 villagers, but so I think that is something that can slow them down as well. And honestly, I think we've all seen so much Baja. I don't really have a problem if we don't see that very often, or ever again. Not ever again, but it should be very useful still on maps with 5 or more TPs, right? Maybe even 4 or more. So I think it's still going to be viable, but I think things have to change. When it's being voted out of an ESOC tournament, I think that tells you something. All right, here comes probably the biggest one of the Civ direct nerfs is the Ottomans, because these guys, I am so sick of playing against these Ottoman players, and I've had to start playing them myself because they're so strong, they're so versatile, it's ridiculous. So I'm gonna give some sizable nerfs here, and I think some unique ones and some different takes on how to change them a little bit. So first off, Mosque Constructions is that unique H3 card that reduces the cost of the unique Mosque technologies by 50%. I want to reduce that to a reduction by 33%. So it's still going to be saving you quite a bit of resources. I didn't do the exact math. I have in the past, and that card is crazy. The value you get for that card is insane. So still having some value with it, but just tuning that down a little bit. And then starting crates, I think we can just slow them down in general, because they can get to H3 so quickly. They can get Spahi in the opponent's base by 6 minutes 30 seconds or 6 minutes 40. That 5 Spahi in somebody else's base at 6.5 minutes. That's crazy. So, or they can get 3 TCs started the construction or maybe even finished by the 7 or 7:30 mark. They have too many options, I think, and they're too strong. So I think just slowing them down with 100 food removed from their starting crates, it's pretty sizable. I mean, I'm not gonna say that it's not a huge nerf. It's pretty sizable, but I think it's finally time Ottoman take a step aside a little bit, and I think they'll still have some very good options too. So it's not like removing a villager. It's just 100 food, which again, as I said earlier in this with another Civ, that can be gathered in 20 seconds or less. So not an insane nerf, but sizable. And then millet system. The first upgrade at the mosque to reduce villager train time costs 50 wood. I want to make the second one cost 100, and the third one, No, millet system is the first one. So I'm up in that from 75 to 100. The second one from 150 to 200, and the third one remains at 300 wood. So I think that also would. I mean, they just have so many viable strategies. It's crazy, and this is not even. It does slightly touch their water boom when you start with the dock and do the schooners, the Karim water play. Still going to be very strong with it. Still going to have a lot of options. So, bye Ottoman. On to the Swedes. So Swedes, I've played a few games with them lately. It's kind of painful to get the second villager in queue because they currently only start with 150 food crates. I had found that very. I like had to double check that. So regardless, I think just give them an extra 50 food crate. Like a lot of civs. I mean, they have, I believe, a tiny one right now. So putting them at 200 food, 300 wood, I think helps them out a little bit earlier. Because it's like, if you're a new player and you don't really know this, if you're trying to learn it, it's like kind of intimidating to try to, because you got to drop your torps too. It's a really tight window. It's very doable if you're a better, higher end player, but newer players or people that are trying the Swedes for the first time, that's going to be quite a challenge and pretty annoying and maybe even a turnoff. So I'm not saying they necessarily need it. I'm just saying like just let people queue vills, That's the game. Hackas, these guys, I do not like these guys. They've been adjusted so many times throughout the years. It's gotten crazy. I think they need to not be so versatile and be able to beat everything if you have enough of them. They have an area of they're just crazy units, right? So I think giving them the heavy cavalry tag, again, going back to that because I think they had it before, I think it makes sense. Let dragoons counter them. They have insane melee damage. If they have insane melee damage, they are heavy cavalry by every definition in this game. They are heavy cavalry with a high hand attack, and you should not be able to mono comp so much. So that's end of my rant on that. A little buff here that I found that's a little bit annoying if playing as Swedes, and I mean, yeah, you can time it if you play a lot of Swedes. You can time it, you can feel it out. But I don't think it should be penalizing to send a card like Blueberries, where if the bush just happens to expire a few seconds, maybe a minute, 30 seconds, whatever, before you send this card, then your Torp gets nothing. So I would, if it's possible, I think it makes sense, like the Blackberry card, if there is not currently a bush, a Blueberry bush should spawn. So I think that's a nice little quality of life change, I think. Okay, on to the United States. Again, the age up book crates reduce the XP amount by 50%. They are ridiculous, and it's kind of sickening watching how many shipments fly in, especially when they start off with Chinese immigrants on high TP maps, which is the next item here. It's hard to nerf this card without taking away the levy ability, and there's an interesting aspect to this. If this were to be the patch, right? In my patch here, I increased the cost of trade post to 250 wood. So the United States is still going to build that trade post, and they're going to get more value for it. They're going to get 250 wood every time they levy a trade post from their TPs with Chinese immigrants. So, and the wagon they get is 250 wood as well. So this card is actually boosted in a few ways. But I think reducing the HP bonus from plus 40%, which it's crazy hard to kill these things, bringing it down 20% to 20%, cutting that in half, which is puts it in line with Advanced Trade Post, which is strictly just a worse card, interestingly enough. And then lastly, Scottish Immigrants. This card has been more and more viable, more and more used, and my earbuds just cut out, so hopefully everything still sounds okay. But anyway, Scottish Immigrants. So I think increasing the cost by 100 coin here makes some sense. It's still a very good card, and still would be used quite a bit, especially on these high TP maps. So United States, we nerfed them once. I think they're still really, really strong. But I think these changes would again be a slight nudge in the right direction. So, and that's it. That's all I have here. I kept the rest of the website code here. So, but yeah, if we go back through here, I think the biggest changes. I tried to look at the lower level player base as well, with nerfing the Aztec, helping out the Ethiopians because they are the least played civ in the entire game. What else? The Maltese, they're a lower played civ. I think that would help people play them. And Ottoman, too many people play them. Swedes maybe giving them a little bit of a boost player wise, but yeah, I mean this is just kind of my feeling right now at the moment after I've been playing for about over a year, very consistently. So yeah, I don't know if we're ever gonna get a patch. I hope we can at some point. Maybe my theory is my hope is that after the Age of Mythology DLC, I think there's still one more to go, one more to be released. Maybe after that's done, because it's on the same engine, I'm assuming there's some people that are working on that instead of AOE3. Don't know if that's true or not, so don't quote me. Don't get mad. Don't get like Reddit and sometimes just hating on the other AOE games. But my hope is that maybe we can get a patch. And I was going through the patch dates, all the recent patches, and we were getting, before I came back, we were getting patches all the time. I almost feel like I jinxed the community because we were getting patches like once every month and a half or 2 months, especially right around when the game went to the free trial method. So I don't know, guys. I still have hope, and like I said, I think if we put information out there, I think we made a good little statement with when we had all the petition signings. I think people noticed that. I think it said that we do love this game. We have a good community, a sizable community, and people that want more. We want to spend money on new content. This video is not even about new content. This is just about updating our current content. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you agree with most of it. I'm sure there's some things that people are going to disagree with. Look, I've never been on a balanced team. I've been playing the game for a very long time, so I think I have a pretty good feel for it. But yeah, I'm sure there's going to be and sometimes you just need to shake it up. Like a 250 wood trade post, that would definitely shake up the game. That would change the meta quite a bit, and it would make it more interesting, more unique, at least for a little while. So sometimes that's what patches are all about. You don't need to always have completely new civilizations, maps, whatever. Like, yeah, obviously it's nice, but if you change up some unit stats, that can totally refresh the game. So I don't know. This is my pipe dream, my Imaginarium, as I called it up top, data patch for Imaginarium. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and let's keep the hope alive. Keep playing. I'm enjoying it. Hope you guys are too, and I'll see you in the next video.